Well, the rules of the game are that you should be treated fairly and equally, right?
For sure.
That's an American principle.
And I agree with that completely.
Got it. So, therefore, a white male should not be treated differently than a black male.
But when you come from a different...
Doesn't matter.
But the
equal treatment or not. It's not whether or not you were said mean things when you grew up or whether your dad was a gangbanger. Doesn't matter.
Well, I'm not saying that's not the outside factors I'm talking about.
It doesn't matter what the outside factors are.
Hey, my love. So you're welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Baby Harry First Reacts, and I'm back again for another reaction video. So I bring to you Charlie Kirk, and the title of this one is Charlie Kirk Educates Pro-Diversified Diversity Quote Students. I repeat, Charlie Kirk educates pro-diversity quote students. So I can't wait for us to watch this. This is gonna be a heated one. This is gonna be a banger, right? So if you haven't subscribed, don't want to hit the subscribe button, subscribe to our channel, give us a good thumbs up, and without further ado, let's get right into this video.
But the one I want to talk to you about the most is affirmative action and DEI. And in these videos, you have said, quote for quote, white males have high test scores, white males shouldn't have to be penalized. You did acknowledge and say that people of color come from lower socioeconomic backgrounds that do not prioritize education much. But instead of making a suggestion on how to help those communities and continue to build those communities up, you continue to say that our institutions are becoming less excellent, and I'm confused as to what your definition of excellence is. Is that because white males aren't necessarily, in your opinion, getting accepted as in a higher rate, even though they technically are, because 41% of college admitted students are of the white race?
It should be higher than that, yeah.
Based on what? Where are you getting the statistics? I just want to understand.
It's a good question. The Supreme Court did a whole case on this, and it ruled against affirmative action, and we saw the books of Harvard. So
I don't want to cut you off. May I know for future reference, so I can understand where you're coming from and get more context, could I know the Supreme Court case? Yeah,
so the name, 2.5 years ago, I think it was something out of California. Someone look it up. You could use Grok or ChatGPT.
If somebody could please look that up for me. Thank you.
So we saw the data out of Harvard. Harvard was the test case, and effectively, approximating, but a white male had to get about a 30% higher test score to even be considered than an equivalent black student.
And when was this?
Over 30 years. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. So basically, for a black student, they could do 30% worse on their standardized scores than an equivalent white student.
And you don't think that has any outside factors to do with it?
Well, that's not the point. The point is whether or not...
But how is that not the point?
Because I don't believe we should accommodate based on outside factors. You do.
True.
Well, I do, because I believe in progression, and I feel like you have stated in multiple of your videos, which I do have a quote.
No, fair enough. I'm just making sure we understand we disagree.
For sure.
I don't think we should change the rules of the game to accommodate...
What were the rules of the game?
Well, the rules of the game are that you should be treated fairly and equally, right?
For sure.
That's an American principle.
And I agree with that completely.
Got it. So, therefore, a white male should not be treated differently than a black male.
But when you come from a different...
Doesn't matter.
But what...
Thank you. It doesn't matter.
Equal treatment or not. It's not whether or not you were said mean things when you grew up or whether your dad was a gangbanger. Doesn't matter.
Well, I'm not saying that's not the outside factors I'm talking about.
It doesn't matter what the outside factors are.
But can I explain where I'm coming from?
But understand, I'm going to finish and I'll let you talk.
Okay, of course.
Equal treatment is regardless of any sort of sob story you could put on before it. Equal treatment. Test score, test score.
And I completely agree with that. But I also come from a predominantly white town, so I understand what you're trying to say. In my district, we have so much funding, and I live in the Florida Keys, so there's a lot of funding that comes to my school. And you can drive 30 miles north, and you end up in Homestead, where they have a fraction of the funding that we have, and they don't have as much of the same testing instructors and people to help them, and have as much of the same outside resources. And then you can keep going another 30 miles and you end up in Miami, where all the private schools are, and they get even more funding than where I come from. Obviously I ended up where I am today because I continue to push through, and I didn't let any outside factors affect me. But at the end of the day, I kept going, and some people don't have that same ability. And I also
it doesn't again, first of all, in Florida, every public school gets the same amount of money. Okay, there's an equal funding across the board.
But you also get donations from the people in your community.
Fair enough, but Florida has...
And I know for a fact that my community gets many donations.
Florida has the most, you could use equitable funding structure of any school, and has universal school choice, basically. So that's number one. Number two, explain to me why, when we're admitting people for a job, should it just be what's on that piece of paper, or should race play into the factor?
So I know that your argument is mediocrity. I forgot. I don't
Mediocrity?
really. Okay, yeah, and I know that, and I also believe in quotas as well. But I don't think that it should be one and one, but they should go hand in hand. Because at the end of the day, if I have just as good as a resume as somebody next to me, I wanna understand where you're getting that jobs are just taking people because they're a woman, because they are black. I just want to see. And I understand what you're trying to say because of course, with affirmative action and DEI, that does give them an upper hand. But where does it say that you take somebody just because of that color?
All over the place. Capitol Street Partners back in the summer of 2022 said that they will not hire white men for internships. That's one example of thousands I could give.
But because of how many people are in there, how many people in position?
Because they wanted to be. Again, that's irrelevant. It does not matter if you have an internship and everyone is a white man. If they're all qualified, that's great. It doesn't matter if they're all Asian or all black. It should be what merit qualification gets the people into that position.
And of course, but if this school only wanted white people to attend.
No, good, like excellent qualified people, and if they end up majority white, who cares? Why does that matter?
I don't think that matters. I'm saying that affirmative action.
No, you are saying it matters.
I'm saying that, but I'm not saying for the white male or the black race or the Asian race or the Indian race, or understand what I'm saying? I'm saying that it works in favor for any race and any sex. It works, and it does 1,000%. And I don't understand where you're getting that information.
It is anti-white racism that was in the fiber of our laws that is now getting away thanks to President Donald Trump. Where if you were a white man, especially to apply for internships, jobs, going to college, that it was significantly harder to get those jobs, to get into those practices, because there were quotas that made it easier for people of other skin colors with lower standards to be able to get those positions. We agree there's only so many slots in a college, right? There's only so many positions in an internship. It's a limited supply.
I completely agree.
It is scarcity. So when you have a scarce resource, you have to decide how you're going to divvy up that scarce resource.
For sure.
In a DEI model, they're going to say, okay, we're not going to do any more than 30% white, and then we'll do 15%. And so you kind of come up with these quotas. Therefore, they end up saying, well, what happens if the 15% black is not qualified? They don't care. Which ends up happening far too often. Or what happens if the... Can
you give me examples of cases?
Yeah, air traffic control is actually a really good example. We now have all the documents that show that we went on a hiring spree to have more black air traffic controllers. There's a huge lawsuit about this, 15, 16, 17, where the standards for air traffic control have dropped so dramatically, and you're kind of seeing some of the effects of that, potentially. And again, it's in almost every single corporate practice, every single college institution. But it just kind of comes down to more of a moral argument that I have, which is that if you have something based on merit, I don't care if it's all black, all Asian, all white. It's an excellent group is what I want, not a diverse group. I care about excellence, not diversity. Because I do not believe diversity is a strength. I believe unity is a strength. I believe the pursuit of higher purposes is a strength. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do understand where you're coming from. I feel like I do agree with some of the things that you did just say, and I may have to do some more research on the things that you said before, but I guess we can agree to disagree for the time being. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate it.
I've said this, and I'll keep saying it countless times on my channel, that we should do away with racism. I don't know how you people want me to explain this thing to you, but it's high time we do away with racism, we do away with inequalities, and we stand for what is right. That is the only solution to the problem in this country and in the entire world as a whole. And this would reduce and cut off a lot of problems, or a lot of future problems that would come up. There's no how you want to appoint someone who isn't fit for a job, or who isn't fit for a particular work or work designation. You're putting someone who is fit, you're putting someone who merits it, you're putting someone who is accountable, you're putting someone who is competent, you're putting someone who have gathered years of experience in that field. You're not putting the person based on inequality or diversity or race. You're not putting the person based on skin colors, or you're putting someone who is ready to do a clean, a perfect, and an excellent job. I don't know how I'm gonna say this again, and I will not stop saying this. That is why I love Charlie. Charlie always spill facts, right? Irrespective of your skin color. I've seen black people in America, that are doing very well intellectually. They are knowledgeable, they've gathered years of experience, they are good, and they fix them. NBA do that, they fix them in some particular field that they merit. We're not putting people based on the fact that, oh, this person is from this race, this person is from this region, this person is from this, heterogeneous and the rest of it. No. That is one thing we need to fix in this world. If we go about embracing inequalities, embracing racism, the world won't be a better place to be. The world won't be a better place to stay. Let me put it that way. You're putting someone who can deliver well, right? You're not looking at sentiment to fix someone into a particular role. No. For instance, I want to fly an aircraft. Me as the passenger boarding the aircraft, I need a pilot that is competent. In fact, I don't just need 80 over 100. I need someone that at his grading level is grading 100. I need someone that I can actually entrust my life with, in as much as it's only God that we can entrust our life on. But then I need someone that I would sit in that aircraft and I know that, yes, the pilot flying this aircraft is good at what he does. So that is it. That is how this world and this country can move forward. I don't want to put in a pilot. I don't want a pilot that will ride my aircraft and he's being selected based on the fact that, oh, he's black, he's Asian, he's black, he's white, I don't want that. So this is a way that this world and our country can move forward, and the entire world as a whole. We should do away with diversity. We need to do away with racism. We need to do away with inequality. We need to do away with impartiality. There are a lot of things we need to do away with. Thank you so much for watching. So it's still your girl BB Herefers React, and you're welcome to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, do well to hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to our channel, give us a huge thumbs up. I love you so much, and I'll see you in my next video.